Welcome to Molly Kate Illustrates and Create This Book Too. This is a pre-prompted art journal by Moriah Elizabeth, who is a YouTuber here. She's great. I highly recommend giving her channel a look. I subscribe and I'm a huge fan. This is the tips and tricks page, which is basically your opening guide to all the materials that will and will not work in this book. The pages are a little bit thin, so this basically just gives you an idea of what you can use, and if you want to use other materials, how to use them. So yeah, we're just gonna get started. I am going to cover this up because it has to use wet media. You need like some sort of page to cover it up. This is totally not required. It's your book. Do whatever you want to do. I'm just going to do it for this page because it's a pretty wet page. There's a lot of water involved, so I just want to make sure the pages actually stay in the book. You never know when the pages are going to get so wet that they fall out of the book, which has happened to me in a different video. So if you want to see that happen, just be sure to check that one out when it comes out. It'll be Create This Book 2, page 2, episode 2, season 2, series 2, I guess. And now I'm gonna go ahead and proceed with cutting it now that I've measured and traced it out. It's one of those things where you gotta be careful because something like this might happen. Yeah, no good. My blade was really dull when I did this. I'm just gonna try it again. Okay. Yeah, now I'm done. You see, this is why you use a sharp blade. It's really important. In design school, they always tell you that you need to always put a new blade in whenever you are about to use an Xacto knife. I forgot to do that, and quite honestly, I didn't know where my blades were, and I didn't feel like trying to find one, so I kind of didn't care that much, and I paid for it dearly. So I had to recut this. Now that we have this piece of paper all cut out, I'm just going to glue it in, and as you can see, the whole kind of purpose of cutting out that little window is so that you can still see the instructions on the page. I'm going to try to make it to where you can see the instructions on all of these pages so that whenever you look back through the book, you can see what the challenge was, because I kind of think that's the whole fun part about these books. I'm going to put like a little door on it so that you can fold it up and still have all of the space of the spread. You don't have to do this, and I'm probably not gonna do this on most of mine, but for this one I knew it was gonna be really dark and you wouldn't be able to see the instructions once I was through with it, so that was why I did the little window. I haven't really talked about what I'm going to do for this design yet. Since the challenge was to create word art, basically, sort of or word illustration, to basically illustrate your words using the things that you use to create them or decorate them, I decided that I was gonna do something galactic and space-based because I'm very obsessed with space. So of course that was naturally the first thing that I wanted to do. They're also really, really easy techniques to do, and they're fun, and they make for good videos, so I just thought it would be a really good first page to do on this. So I'm going to be doing a Watercolor Galaxy, and I'm going to be doing the word Milky Way, and I'm going to make it look really milky. Now to get started with the actual book, I'm going to do this in pencil, the words anyway, because gotta have a guide somewhere. And then after I get the words sort of placed how I like it, I'm gonna go over with watercolor masking fluid. Not sure if you're familiar with this stuff. It's honestly pretty amazing, especially if you're doing any kind of watercolor galaxy effect, pretty much anything with big wet watercolors. This stuff dries and you can literally just rub it off. It actually comes with a little sponge thingy that you can rub it off with, but I did not know where it was for the first part of this video, and I ended up giving my finger a blister. This is a brush that I did not mind ruining because this stuff, it's really hard to get out. It's, like I said, it's latex, it's like liquid latex, and so whenever it dries, it's just it just cakes on there. So use a brush you don't mind getting ruined. But now that it's dry, as you can see, I'm just gonna start laying down the good old dark space black color. Actually, this is a dark gray, if I'm gonna be completely accurate. Sometimes using a dark gray instead of black is totally, it ends up being a better thing. It's like a more textured color, as some art teachers would tell you. They basically use different types of pigments to make these pens, so you really just have to figure out which sort of colors you like. This is a very cool black. As you can see, it's whenever you pull it out, those softer grays are very blue. So if you're doing something like this where you're using a lot of cool colors or that fits your color scheme, it's kind of nice to use like a cool gray instead of like a black, because sometimes blacks are really warm, or you know, they're based in red pigments, and so they can, whenever you pull them out, they look almost brown. So that's another little thing you can keep in mind. But basically now I have applied water to, like I said, to spread this out, and I'm using my best friend, the pipette. This little guy is a recent addition to my artist toolbox, and it is awesome for watercolor effects. It's just great. I use it to sort of create all this like little splattery, drippy thing that you see with the black. After I laid all that stuff down, I dried it out with my heat embossing tool, and basically I'm just gonna repeat this process over and over again with different colors, sort of building up different shades and tints of these different spacey colors. They're so spacey. So I'm, like I said, I'm a big fan of the pink and the blue. I love when they merge together like that, and a little happy purple thing happens there, and the blue and the green go together, and they're just, I just love all these colors. So excited. That's a really cool red, a really cool pink too. I don't know, I'm probably going to talk a lot more about color theory later on, just because I find it super interesting. It might be super dull actually, and you guys can totally let me know if this is like the worst stuff you've ever heard in your life. But for some reason I find it really fascinating. But so since this spread, I mean, it's space, it's very cool. I like, you know, kind of a cool feel to it, so I picked all cool colors for the most part, except for the red / pink, but I picked a really cool red. I know it's weird. If you're like thinking of like the color wheel, think of like it being on the end closest to purple versus the end closest to orange. So now that I've pretty much filled up this whole page with color for the most part, I'm just gonna go over with my water brush. This is actually one of those brushes that holds water in it, but I'm also dipping it into a water dish off screen because it wasn't really squeezing out. Not enough was coming out that I wanted, so I used the cup to supplement a little bit. Now that I have all this color laid down and I've dried it, I'm gonna go off, and this is the part where I gave myself a blister. That sucked. But now that I have it off, I'm gonna go back over all of the really bright papery tones with a sort of milkier, more opaque white. I believe this is wash, and then I use acrylic to create the stars. I'm just gonna add like lots of little pools here. I'm literally gonna make it look like milk, because whenever it dries, it tends to kind of take on that effect. Whatever sort of effect you give it in real life, it dries and it takes on that effect. So watery, milky water was a good choice for this, I guess. So yeah, I'm just gonna touch up some areas, and then I'm just gonna let this guy dry. Okie dokie, so now it's time for the stars. I'm gonna use a toothbrush for this. I basically just sort of made up a mixture of water and acrylic paint. You would, I guess, technically call that a wash, I think. Ugh, I need to brush up on my art knowledge. I just made this little mixture that kind of makes it loose and makes it easier to fling. And I am using a toothbrush for this, and I've actually used quite a few different things, and I have not found anything that works nearly as well as a toothbrush. And toothbrushes are really, really easy to find. You can get one at the store. I'm pretty sure there's like 10-cent, well, I don't know about 10-cent toothbrushes, but there's probably like, 50-cent toothbrushes places. So yeah, I basically just used that and flung it all around and just built up these little starry masses, little starry neighborhoods. And then I'm gonna go over with paint pen on this guy. I used the paint pen because I thought I could get like really bright stars with that, just to sort of add those final details. Finally, I'm just gonna go over with the gel pen. I'm gonna put in those little crosses again. For some reason, I feel those lens flares add quite a bit to the overall look of it. I like to try to get all of them parallel with each other, like perfectly perpendicular with their own things, and then parallel with one another, because again, for whatever reason, it just like, I guess that's how it actually looks on a camera, so it just looks better when you do it that way. I've done it a couple different ways, and you can do it however you want to. I mean, your book. And I think that about does it for this page. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with how it came out, and I definitely had a fabulous time making it, so that's always good. Thank you all so much for watching. As I said, this is my first video here, and it's definitely not perfect, but hopefully they'll get better down the road as I experiment with different tips and tricks and techniques and fancy things like that. Oh, and let me know if you're also working on Create This Book or Create This Book 2, because I would really love to see your pages. You can just like link those in the comments or something like that. That'd be fine. I'll be posting another video here soon as well, so check back for more artsy content. But until then, y'all take care, and I will see you later.